It takes a minute for it to actually show that we're live, but we're going live right now.
Like right now is when it's
like
saying
now. I keep
right
Like
now.
First of all, let's take off this. I'm removing your second. I don't know which one is which now.
I gotta mute your page.
I'm removing the one with no microphone.
Right. And it looks like we're actually officially live. And so it's about that time for bedtime.
Oh wait, I removed the wrong one. Will's got to come back.
Yeah, I don't see Will.
Man.
I don't see Sin neither.
Oh, this is what happens when you have multiple devices under the same name. Can we put it on speaker view? Let me see.
You can.
Okay.
So I'm going to remove this one.
So, yeah.
I'm just saying.
So welcome to Bedtime Stories. We're here.
We're here. We're live.
It's
cheer.
It's 2021, bitches.
Oh my goodness. And if you missed it just now, Wil Milton was connected with 2 devices. And I was like, oh, let me remove that other device. But I removed the main device. So now we're just waiting for Will to return. But in the meantime, we are here.
Right. And we got special guests here with us too that I'm really excited about because they're my friends.
I'd heard of them.
For a long time.
A long time.
He's my friend too for a long time. You ain't got no hair. I like seeing your face there. It's sweet. They're cute.
Get it back on the screen.
Tell them to say something.
Yeah, this is Bedtime Stories. It's 2021. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for being here. Who
are you?
Super excited.
What's your name?
Why don't you start, Mr. Who? Oh, me? My name?
Yes, you.
I start. I'm Sid Rose. Oh shit! She's asking me.
You might have heard of her.
Maybe. And what's your name, girl? What's your name?
Well, my name is Red. Some people call me Redness, and you know, I've got a few names, and that's me. Tonight I'm Red. And how you doing? Wil Milton, welcome back.
Thank you.
Wil Milton, welcome back.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, turn us down. Turn us down.
Echo.
So, Will, is it working? Is it working?
Sorry, that was Dolby Digital 5.1. Sorry about that.
And Will, did you check? Is it working?
It looks like it.
So I'm on yours.
I don't know.
Are we? Did you not check?
I co-host.
All right. So you did it? Am I on there?
Nah, I'm no.
No, I like this. I like all of this. We're doing all of this live, people. We're doing all of this live.
Hey, sometimes it happens. It's a slow start.
All right. So I'm gonna send you what you plug in, Will, while this other gentleman introduces himself.
Right.
Who, me?
Yeah. You with the glasses.
Anyway, yeah, I'm Timmy Richardson, otherwise known as TOT to some. I'm still trying to, why did you guys have me on here?
You know what you did.
Yeah,
What I did.
Timmy, what'd you do?
Be about it.
Who knows? Anyway, I'm happy to be here. Ready to spill my guts.
Oh yeah. I'm interested in hearing that.
I bet.
All right, Will, did you do it?
We good.
All right. I wanted to know.
Let's
I
rock.
wanted you to have what you wanted.
I got what I needed. Thank you, Red.
Okay, good. Okay, great.
All right, so why don't you introduce yourself, Will?
All right, so what's up, family? Bedtime Stories. It's good to be here. Let me tell you, it's a blessing to be on this show. My name is Wil Milton of Bliss, NYC. I'm from New York City, born and raised in Queens, but currently on Long Island. And like I said, I'm just happy to be here to share some stories with our people.
All right.
Okay.
Well, you have some stories in mind. I'm curious because,
There's
like, I know both of you, so for me, it's easy. I can jump right in and be like,
so there's always a story to tell, but I would think, and this is just me thinking this out, the reason why you invited me is because of our connection. Somehow it's like a triangle. Like, you know, sometimes you gotta go back to the beginning in order to stay relevant. And I think that's the reason why you invited me. At least I think it's because of, you know, just staying relevant, you know, just putting in years of work of doing this, and how we're all connected still after all these years, whether we were partying, working together with events. Here we are, full circle.
Like 32 years. That's crazy.
It's a long time.
You gotta go where everybody
lifetime.
knows your name.
it's a whole lifetime, you know, for some people.
Yeah.
So was I off the mark? Like, was
No,
that?
that's pretty much it. Like, you know, there's certain people that I think that
Well, I'll say this before we're all relevant. We're
Yeah.
all relevant.
everybody's relevant.
No doubt.
So, but I hear what you're saying, Will.
But you know what happens? Like, I think because of like the way that the times are, like streaming, like you had to find your marketing niche. Like some people are just getting it now, whereas we were doing it years. I mean, a year before the pandemic. And I
Right.
think that because of the way that the, you know, things are with going to clubs, perception on music, you know, the audience changing, the marketing strategy, all that. You got to stay relevant. And I think that some people couldn't do it. And that's what I'm saying. It's a blessing for us to be here to break bread because of that, you know, us remaining relevant and having, you know.
I think you're right about that. And some people refuse to do it. They don't want any parts of it. And that's okay too, I suppose.
Yeah, well, I hear you.
Right? We don't know what to say about that.
You just got to find your spot. Wherever you fit, you know, you go in. So what's that you drinking, Ray?
That's what I want to know. What
Let me
is
tell you
that?
something. I feel like I just opened this new bottle of wine.
Kool-Aid? That's Kool-Aid?
Shout out to Joanne for telling me to try this wine. I'm trying it here on Bedtime Stories, Joanne. And I felt like when I was pouring it just now, the look
what it
was
is?
so loud. What did you say, Sam?
I want to see what it is.
It is Apothic Rose.
Oh, I probably would like that.
I probably would.
Just because it says rose, and I'm biased.
I shall make sure that you get some. We'll have some together.
Right?
An OE sticker.
It says rosé.
Rose on there.
Whatever, rose. So
I'm
I
still learning about wine, so don't come over here with your prim and proper.
I always want to know
She's
from
trying to claim the wine.
what is the thing that that turned you out? Because we just said we've been here a lifetime, right? We all know that. So like, what is it that turned you out? What is it that made you say, I need this, I gotta have it? What was it?
DJing?
Whatever it is that you
This whole scene, because you might have been in the scene before you ever DJ.
Yeah, whatever component of it is that you want to comment on, like.
Well, I was always a DJ. It's funny because when my father passed, he actually kept so much stuff that I had that I didn't, you know, just figured he threw away, like bowling trophies and books, but there was a biography that I wrote in 1978. I was about 12, and I spoke about how I wanted to play in clubs at the age of 12.
Wow.
So, you know, I always had a passion for records because of my father, because he always bought records, and I would go with him when he would, you know, buy records in Corvettes. Remember Corvettes? They used to have the letter.
Yeah.
The letter determined the price of the records. And I remember buying the Dr. Buzzard's original Savannah Band. He bought it because everybody in Corvettes was buying it. Store was packed. And he hated the record when it got home because he didn't know what it was. And, you know, it's probably in my top 10 of all time. but I always had a passion for playing music and wanting to play. And then I heard Disco Boogie, I think it was, on South Soul Records. It came out in 1976, and that the records didn't stop playing. And I never heard that before, because we only, they didn't really have DJs on the radio in 1976, or at least if they did, I didn't know about it. And they probably weren't really that good anyway, to blend the records like that. But, I think it was Walter Gibbons blended that album together, and the music didn't stop. And so I just wanted to do that. That's where I got the passion from.
Okay. Wil Milton.
So I think what really brought on that connection is my upbringing, like where I come from. I'm originally from Queens. I was born in Hollis, 203rd Street, right around the corner from, Russell Simmons, his brother Run. So when I migrated from Hollis to Queensbridge, the element, I was surrounded by so many entertainers, musicians. Right across the street, Dr. Bob Lee, he lived, literally I would see him. And then on the other side of the block, we had Bernard Fowler of New York City Peach Boys. He lived across, and then we would see Mick Murphy, because I don't know if everyone know, Mick Murphy from the system, but Mick Murphy and Bernard Fowler, they're cousins. So I would see, Mick Murphy coming in to the neighborhood. Marley Marl lived on my block. So it's like all the, and Ron Otess, he lived in my building. So it's like growing up, in that environment helped shape the things that I do today. I remember back in '81 in Jamaica, Queens, there was this record shop, and I don't know how this record shop actually got their hands on it, but the first Break Beat compilation, which was Break Beats and was volume 1, and it had all the breaks. It was an octopus symbol, and I was the only one in Queens who had it. So at the time in Queens, we had the All Brothers, Disco Twins, and then word got out that I was this young cat who had all the records. Just like with Timmy, my dad was a collector, and all the records that, were played like in the clubs and on radio, my dad had those records, and I inherited those records. When he made his transition, I kept it. I think what really brought me to the club culture, I gotta give love and respect to Brian Green, because he's also from Queens. And
Brian Footwork Green?
Yeah, he's from Queens. He's from Bayside. So he and I came up together in Queens. I'm a dancer. Obviously we know that Brian's a dancer, but we used to go to this club called Phase 2, Palettes. And they played a lot of freestyle music there. But at that time I was going to like Latin Quarters, Union Square. So, I was really connected with the hip hop culture until Brian took me to California Club. And then when I went there, I believe Camacho was playing, and I was like, yo, this is dope. But that's the 80s, the late 80s era, going back to Bernard Fowler, and that's the connection. That's what kind of like really set the tone. Bernard Fowler had a connection with the Garage, obviously, because of his records. So the closing night of the Garage, everyone was going there. So I'm going to Latin Quarters, and they're like, no, you're coming with us to this club, not knowing anything about the Garage. So I go and find out that this big, amazing club, first time ever, because I'm used to the, the park jams, the community center, never seen anything like that ever again.
It was epic, right?
And I was like, yo.
You got in the last night?
Yeah, because of Bernard Fowler, because everyone, Bernard Fowler lived across the street, and that's the connection for why.
You got in with him.
Yeah.
Oh. That's one of the biggest regrets I've ever had in my life. When I was
Dr. Bob Lee also connected with, DLS in the Garage. Like I said, that's that whole culture that I was surrounded by. So, that really helped shape a lot of just the knowledge and everything. Really not understanding the discipline yet. Not until I go to the California Club, and then I'm seeing all these dancers, and then learning that, because everyone was dancing together. In Latin Quarters, nobody danced together. Everyone danced separately. So learning that culture, then came Wild Pitch. And that's how I got introduced to Timmy Richardson. Because he was doing Wild Pitch. Am I going too far? Too much?
No, you're not. Go on. This is
No,
good
no.
stuff right here.
So
This is why you're here.
Timmy, stop me if you need to jump in, because I don't want to hijack this, it's about.
No, just get us started on this story.
So the connection with Red, I know how Angel Arenas is connected with you. Angel actually, Patty Moreno and Tina Skirt Lady, they knew about my DJ playing because we were going to the clubs like Wild Pitch, hanging out with Voodoo Ray, Say Cool, Chris, Ejo. That was the whole crew I was hanging with. So everyone knew that was
Dance Fusion.
Huh?
I said you were Dance Fusion.
Yeah, but this goes even way before Dance
Before
Fusion.
that, yeah.
Yeah, this is going way before. And so they, this the crew knowing that I was getting down DJ was just a hobby at that time. Until one day Patty, Angel, and I think Chris, I forgot Chris's last name, the Angel, Chris,
I know, I remember Chris.
right. So they did a party in Brooklyn. And they invited me to play because Patty was like, yo, you got to hear this guy, Wil. Wil's dope. Not knowing that Patty is inviting Hector House Nation Cruz. Now, God bless, Hector Cruz. Hector was one that you would never know he's in a club. Like, he's really sneaky like that. So all this time, Hector's parked downstairs and he's hearing me play. So now I'm getting the attention from Hector. Now, everyone knew Hector from House Nation. He was like one of, the greatest promoters alongside Greg Day. So then knowing that I was, attending Wild Pitch at House Nation, I approached Hector. I'm like, Hector, I would love to play. So this is where Timmy comes in. I don't know if Timmy remembers this conversation, but one day I see, oh, Timmy, here's my cassette. I want to play. And he said, yeah, all right. And that was it. That was it.
Oh, I can't. I wouldn't remember. You know how many cassettes I used to get?
Yeah, I was one of those guys that gave you one of those mini cassettes.
Exactly. Well, wait. So why didn't Hector? Why'd you have to give me why'd it have to come through me? Because to be honest, I didn't really have a say in who was DJing at Wild Pitch.
Yeah. Well, Hector had that much of a greater respect for you because again, even though, and again, at that time, I'm just meeting Hector, but Hector co-signed that I had the skills, but he said I had to go through you.
Oh, I didn't have that conversation.
You didn't even know how powerful you were.
I didn't have that conversation with Hector, because I used to actually listen to the tapes, but again, I probably wouldn't remember who gave them to me. Chris used to give me tapes. They were actually pretty good. But I used to get so many tapes. It was funny because I used to say, oh wow, I wonder how many blanks I'm gonna have for this week. But I honestly used to listen. I used to listen to the tapes actually.
Yeah.
Because I was obsessed with that tape culture, like you gotta make a tape, not like now where you just, press the button, like a tape. You had to like time it right because you're gonna flip it to the other side.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I always respected anybody who made tapes, Plus, did you ever do pause button tapes?
Yeah.
Yes. All of that comes out of like, it's like the cassette. We don't talk about vinyl and stuff like that, but the tapes, I was obsessed with tapes.
Yo, but Timmy, you were definitely jamming back then, man. Like you, Nick Jones, Camacho, Bobby Condas. You know what I'm saying? Y'all was rocking, man. And like I always felt like you were the sophomore to like Timmy Regisford and Tony Humphreys. Like that was the middle, like in between, like Timmy and Timmy Regisford and Tony Humphreys, they're my mentors. But then came the two, you, Camacho, Basil, Mansky, Disciple. Like you kind of like took it to a different place, man.
Because we had a different. I felt like Wild Pitch had a different sound. Like me and Greg used to sit and go, and talk about what songs we were gonna break that we just got from the store that weekend. Not that we heard Timmy play or Tony play or something like that. So that was always our mindset. And we had, you know, the classics were different. You know, Nick Jones to me is one of the greatest DJs I've ever heard. Yeah. And I hate the fact that he doesn't get the credit for that, you know, because he used to do, I heard him that one of those nights they were doing the tunnel, and he came in there, I think he wasn't even supposed to play that night or something, but he went on and he wound up playing for somebody who couldn't make it, and he was just like mix after mix after mix. You know what I mean?
Talking about Central Park Nick?
Nick Jones.
Jones.
Yeah.
Nick Jones.
From New Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the main DJs of Wild Pitch era were yourself and like Nick Jones, Mansky, Disciple.
Mansky was great too.
Yeah.
Mansky played with energy.
Oh, you know, I was thinking about Nick at Night. I know exactly who you're talking about. Forgive me.
Yeah, Mansky was. Everybody used to talk about Basil, but I was like, yo, Mansky's the man. Mansky's the man.
Yo, but Timmy, like, you were important, like you, Basil, Mansky, Camacho, because you were the glue to like the hip hop crowd. Because at some point people were lost, they didn't know where to go, and you know, with Wild Pitch, it brought a generation together. I think if Wild Pitch didn't exist, I think like clubs like Funk Box, you know what I'm saying, would be different, because it kind of like carries that same.
It was a blueprint. It was kind of a blueprint for it, because the hip hop room alone was doing 600.
Yeah.
That's, most clubs didn't hold 600. And so in the back, you're doing like 1,500. And then you had another side room with Francois or something like that, who said that those parties at 622 Broadway down there in that basement, when he used to play at those, you know, in that little room.
Yeah.
That was the basis for doing Deep Space.
Wow.
That's where he got the idea to do Deep Space from, which is pretty incredible to me. But I guess he's talking about how you can get eclectic in that room, because Mark B used to play in that room.
Yep.
Little Ray used to play in that room. You know, everybody wanted to play the back room, but you really had to know what you're doing to get those kids to be dancing in that little room, which wasn't really that little, but it was little compared to the other two.
Because y'all had like Stretch Armstrong up in there when he was getting started. I remember that.
Stretch played. I remember Aqua Booty was in that room.
Aqua Booty.
Aqua Booty. I forget the guys. It was two guys, right? I forget their names. But anyway, I still have their flyers and ads and stuff like that with them. Their name is on it. Matter of fact, one was with
Wasn't one of the Aqua Booty guys Greg?
Greg Cuoco.
Thank you.
That's who it was. I forget the guy's name. Say his first name. The other guy. I'll know the last.
Give me a minute.
Yeah, man. But yo, Timmy, thank you for those years of Wild Pitch and House Nation, man. Like, you know, Hector was definitely, you know, he taught me a lot of things about just like with the clubs and everything, and making that connection. You know, when we were doing Touch Tuesdays at Sapphire, you know, he was, you know, he played a big role with that, and he taught me a lot of things, because, you know, he comes from that era also, and he knew how to bring people together. I mean, I don't know how he did it, but I guess because of his connection with people. You know, he was always a people person. People loved him. Like, he gravitated to people. But like, I learned a lot from him, and I think that, you know, that product that you all brought to the table at that time, man, it's just, I just feel like we carried that torch that you all were doing. And to see that Funk Box kept that going, because, you know, you had Sin Rose doing it, because she's part of that movement too. Red too, she's doing it, you know, she's doing it. But, you know, with Voodoo Ray, God rest, you know, he also understood that bringing it.
That's because like people like Ray and myself attended those parties.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So you, right.
Yeah. Because we were mad young in the streets.
Yeah.
Well, just doing a pool party. Let's go.
Yeah, it didn't matter where Wild Pitch was at, we were going.
Well, that was. I remember one night, I think it was supposed to be someplace, and Greg put like one person to stand where that was, and told him no, it was going to be. I think it was Quincy on 2nd Avenue in Houston, a huge club, and Bobby was playing, and Conrad did the did the system, and it had to be like 2,000 people in there.
Yeah.
That was before I got down with Wild Pitch.
Yeah.
They say persistence overcomes resistance. I kept bugging right.
I'm curious about like, so I know Will you came up as a dancer and then being in clubs and being like, you know, around these dancing environments that you know brought you to the music. So what was the journey that made you start to say, okay, I'm going to DJ? Because Tim, you already said you started out as a DJ. For you, I would like to know, like, actually for both of you, who was the DJ or the party that gave you the like first opportunity to say, yo, rock?
I'm gonna let the veteran go first.
The first time I ever played live for something like that, like say like a actual crowd, was when I used to hang out at St. John's University. I didn't go there, but I didn't. I was at a point in my life where I wasn't doing anything, so I would hang out with my boys who actually went to the school. You know, but I would bring my box, and you know, I would play my tapes in the cafeteria. You know, in college cafeteria is where it's all happening. Chris Mellon used to walk by, Mark Jackson. That's who was going to St. John's at the time. So one day my boy hooked it up so that, because they had this area where they played music, and they had a DJ and everybody danced and everything, like around lunchtime. So they made it so that I could play for a few minutes. So I wound up playing 5 records. I forgot what the first record was, but somehow, and I was nervous as could be, but it didn't matter. Like you hear sports guys talk about, yeah, we're all nervous. You know, if you're not nervous, you're doing something wrong. I was nervous as could be. But I remember whatever I was playing, and I just cut in. I went Run DMC, Sucker MCs, and I just cut in that part that says, I went to St. John's University, and everybody went crazy. And that's all I needed after that. After that, I think I played like 3 more songs. I think one of them was Wish, Touch Me All Night Long. Another was Globe. I played like 5 songs. It's funny that I can remember 3 of them. But once you get that feeling of people dancing to music that you're playing, you know, you want more.
Yep.
Yeah.
I always say, like, DJing, like the equipment, whether it's a turntable, CDJ, whatever, it's an instrument. It's your voice. Like I always say, an artist, because as DJs, we're artists and we're performers. You have to use the turntable like as an instrument, because it's what you're feeling, your expression that's coming out. And when I look at the decks, because I play keyboards and piano too, and I always look at the decks as an instrument. It's something that delivers what we feel. You know, we don't really, it comes from somewhere else. It doesn't come from us. The inspiration is bigger than us. But the instrument, the decks are, you know, the vehicle that helps us deliver to people. And that's why I have the utmost respect for what we do and for music, because it's a blessing to do this. And for listeners, it's a blessing to hear it as well.
I want to know that gave you a chance to like rock the room.
So this goes back to like the early days of the Shelters, which many people identify as Shelter 101. So there's a subgroup inside of Shelter called Black Symphony Orchestra. You had Marco, you had AD, Pete, Dino. I did say Dino, right? And they were doing their own event outside. I think they were like security for like Shelter.
Yeah, there was security.
Yeah. So Marco, I mean, this goes back to
Wild Pitch.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. So now this goes back to Patty and Tina, how they were close to Marco, and they were like, yo, you got to hear Will play. So they gave me a chance, and it was myself. I remember the first time I played, and it goes back to Timmy. Like my first gig, real gig, for like the core heads, was 622 Broadway. So I didn't get a chance to play for House Nation, or Wild Pitch, but I got a chance to play in the same venue. That
life,
in that life too, right? They did 622 as well. So that was, you know, Marco who really took the chance on me, just really, to break through. And that was like the onset of, really playing for core heads, like the real house heads. You had a little bit of wild pitch, some garage, loft. Everybody was mixed in at that time. And then Voodoo Ray, he wanted me to be his resident DJ. We were doing an event called Simply Social, which was a mixture of like hip hop, house music, two-step R&B. And because he was like, yo, you ready? Because he heard me play, but he didn't think I was really serious about it. He was like, yo, let's do it. And it was myself, Chino, and Chino Gago and Marshall Taylor. And we were doing events until we did the candy store. He was like, let's go. Ray was like, we're gonna, if he tells me we're gonna do this, I'm like, I'm with it. So we did the candy store, and it's a show that was on the NYU campus, 9.1 FM, and that was on Monday nights, and it was hosted by T.O. Sweet, Voodoo Ray, Hector Cruz, Robbie was part of that, and just being up there every week, kind of gave me a little bit of the radio, taste, and which helps me with radio streaming, just being around that. Until eventually I just got tired and said, you know what, I need to branch off and just start doing my own thing. And I started doing different parties.
And that's the funny thing that my dad used to say. He used to be, no one's gonna put you on. You gotta, he always used to say they'll put you on, but you're gonna have to bend over and all that kind of stuff, because he's thinking like, Hollywood and, casting couches and stuff like that. So he said, you always got to do your own thing. So I went away to school in Massachusetts at the age of 16 to college. And I had a radio show. Sunday nights was when they had the black music on in Springfield, Massachusetts. And the funny thing about that is that Little Ray was going to school down the block at AIC. And I think he had a show, and a bunch of other guys had a show. Steve Lowe was the big guy over there, but I don't even remember how I did it or where I got the money from, but I threw, from, being on the radio, I threw my own party. I remember going through the yellow pages and finding out how to rent equipment, but I don't know where I got the money from.
You stole somebody's money.
I don't know. It probably it wasn't any real money back then. It was $50 to rent the speakers or something like that. And maybe 25 people showed up. But that was my first
throwing your own party.
Yeah. My first taste of doing my own thing, you know what I mean? And it started from back when I was 16, and I just did it. I didn't know anybody in that school. I didn't know anyone. I had the other guy. I think his name was Captain Cuz. He was on the radio station. It was me and him playing. Well, don't laugh. My name was Disco Prince.
Well, that's different than Captain Cuz.
Yeah, Captain Cuz. I remember he was from. I remember him because he was from Boston, and Candy Girl was out that year. And they were from Boston, and he was telling me about how they won the contest with I forget the guy's name. Anyway, he knew those guys and stuff like that. Captain
So I
Cuz.
have a question for you, Timmy, from our friend DJ Disciple, who asks, did you ever get the studio bug, and if so, did you ever have passion in it?
Meaning, did I put any music out?
Well,
go ahead and say yes.
I mean, yeah. I mean, people don't know, but I used to do music with LB Bad, the Prince of Dance Music. This music that we have out on New Groove Records from like 1987, 1988.
Did you say the Prince of Dance?
Prince of Dance Music, LB
So
Bad.
the Prince of Dance Music and the Prince of Disco.
That's where he got the name from, and a lot of people don't know that.
That was not lost on me.
His name was inspired by me because he couldn't use disco anymore because it was already played out.
Mm.
1982 is when I assumed that name, so disco was still around a little bit. But by the time I met him, it was 19. It was funny. I met him in announcer training school, but by that time, disco was way played out. So he was using he turned it into Prince of dance music. But that guy actually moved to Germany. You know, he became popular over there. Those whack ass records, and they were whack, were selling for like $150, $150 on Discogs. I couldn't understand why. I mean, we literally didn't have a sequencer. We were just playing on the bed, and the bed was bouncing when I was hitting the buttons on the drum machine. It was pretty funny, but people like what they like, I guess.
Well,
the song is rare, and then they spend a lot of money on it. It's funny, like a diamond.
Yeah, did y'all know there was a moment in time where Timmy and I couldn't be in the same club together?
Because
that was the funny story I was gonna tell, because one day I was walking down the street in the Lower East Side. I'm just walking, and somebody say, yo, Will, and he wouldn't give up. And I turned around, I'm like, yo, it's not Will.
Because y'all both had dreadlocks or some shit?
Yeah, we did at that time.
All black people do not look alike.
No, but you don't understand how much they think that me and Redness used to look alike when I had the locks. It was incredible. I would be in the club where he's playing in the booth, and people would say, nice set. And I would be like, what? Like,
thank you. Thank you.
I was standing with Kevin one day, and the guy was like, nice. It was like some Europeans or something. I don't know. And I was on the dance floor one day, and these girls were like, oh, you play so great. I said, do you mean him? And I'm like, oh. But the first time I met Timmy was at what was that club down the street from I always forget the name, from Sound Factory Bar near Justin's. Anyway, I met him in there one night, and the first thing he said was, you got to change your name. It was pretty funny.
Somebody said,
was it though? Was it really funny?
It was pretty funny, yeah. But yeah, the studio book. I mean, my passion was mashups. That's what I got popular for, was the mashups. And I did actually have my own label for a minute. So I guess I had a little studio bug, but I never had that. You know, always wanted to be able to, like, I used to play violin. I used to play a little guitar. I was teaching myself guitar, but I actually went to school. We had violin. I was playing violin, and I could play a little bit of keyboards, but not the way, you know. I mean, when you hear guys like Josh and Louie and these guys putting out real music, you don't want to just be playing the basic chords that we played in 1989. So I never really got that passionate for making music like that.
what about you, Will? How did you get into making music?
Oh, so yeah, like this goes back to like 84, 85. I was still b-boying at that time, and my closest brother, like he's my best friend, but he's my brother because the spiritual connection. His name is Vaughn Merritt. So he was taught by our other friend, Nelson Bruley. Like, they were great keyboard players. So they were like, we got to stop this b-boying stuff because, you know, people weren't doing it anymore. So there's this time with MIDI, you know, which is a technology that, you know, it allowed you to play music without a band. So you could be the whole entire band. So they were getting into that. And then they taught me how to play, you know, just, you know, the scales and the chords. And I just, you know, took it and ran with it. And I just continued to advance, and I taught myself how to play piano and keyboards. And eventually I got into songwriting. And that actually really jumped off when I was signed to a production company in New Jersey. They were called Smack Production. They were responsible for Adiva, Colonel Abrams, Janet Rushmore. So spending a lot of time with Smack Production, they were songwriters, and they also helped me shape, you know, how to write a song. You don't overwrite, you know, you write your drafts, and from a draft, you have another song, another draft, and then you have your final. Sometimes you don't settle just for that one draft. And teach me song structure, chord progressions. That's where I really got my education, from Smack Production. And then it goes back to just me wanting to like really take more control over what I was doing. And that's when I decided to make music, and I started selling my music to different record companies like King Street, Vega Records, Wave Music. And then I started doing a lot of remixes, and so I just launched my own label, because I got really frustrated with just people rejecting the work after a while. So I said, you know what, I can cut the middleman out and just do everything. They say when you want things done, you do it yourself. You do it the way that you want to do it.
That's how JD and Beta did that album that time.
Yeah.
She crowdfunded it, explained everything, gave away the shirts and whatever the incentives were, and she put it out herself.
Yep. Some of our best works were music that were rejected by record companies. So actually they really did us a favor, because not only do we own the rights, we own the masters. You can do whatever we want with it. Whereas once we sell it off, it's a wrap. It's done. As musicians, we take music very personal because we birthed it. It came from
artistry,
right? It came from like the Most High,
Yeah.
So, but that's pretty much where I started, just working with music, just been able to really learn from other people. So.
Well, Timmy, I've got a question for you. Some guy named Kim Lightfoot would like to know how you got involved with the Asua party.
Abuswa.
Thank you.
That's a good question. I'm trying to figure out. Like, I know who was involved. I don't remember how I got down with that. Oh, I think it was through, I really don't know. I don't know how I got down with them. I know there was a guy named Carl, and I think he wound up changing the name to Moitu, and then it went back to Carl. He was working for Hillary.
I'm sorry, but that's just funny to me. Okay,
He's like, there's a guy named Carl, and I'm like, but isn't there always?
Oh yeah, that's what it was. Carl. I remember now. Carl used to be an Alpha, one of those. He was in some fraternity, and I did this party up on Convent Avenue. The party was out of control, and so he always wanted to do something after that. So he came back to the city. He had moved away. He came back 2 years later, and he came up with this Abuswa, and the lips. I forget the guy's name who did the design. But we wound up doing, I think, the first party at Columns. And Kim played. And I had never even heard of Kim, because I think Kim was from Brooklyn, I was from the Bronx. And I just never, I found out later, he had his following in Brooklyn and stuff like that. But, so it was he and I playing, and that's how that started with that. He wound up doing 4 or 5 parties later on and stuff, and it was you just moved on to the next.
Well, Kim says that Chrome Admini did the designs. Just an FYI.
What was the name?
Chrome Admini. You don't remember a lot of things, so don't try to remember this.
No, did he have another name? Because that wasn't it.
Well, Chio Admini.
Because the thing about the logo is that it looks.
Did you hear me? Chio.
Yeah, Chio. That's
okay, here we go.
But the thing about the logo is that it looks similar to Moshood's logo. And I don't know who was the first, but this is going back to '89, and I don't know when Moshood started, but it was almost, Moshood has that logo that looks like lips, right? And his was almost the same.
He's African.
Yeah.
Right.
But Greg wound up doing the first time I played for Wild Pitch was when Greg wound up, because Greg came that night that we did that party with Kim and Carl, and they came in there, inspected the room, because the room was nice. Columns was nice. Did y'all ever go to Columns?
I did not.
Columns, that was a nice room. And I think it was 558 Broadway, something like that. And I forgot where I was going. What was I saying?
All right, well, I got 2 quick questions.
Yeah, and I have some questions.
Okay, so these 2 quick ones. Timmy, are you still doing mashups?
Yes, but not like 50 a year like I was doing.
Okay.
Because I
Question for Will from Disciple is, what was the one club you played in New Jersey that defined you?
Wow. It's funny, the Coffee Cave.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, what's funny about the Coffee Cave is because we did 5 years. Shout outs to John Murray, Rodney Carter, Rico Scott, and for helping us launch that. There was a event we called Powerline, and when we did that, we spent like close to 5 years doing that, and that was one of the key events in Jersey because somehow we were able to. New York was coming to Jersey, but it wasn't really heavy because what we did was we were able to get some of the core heads from New York to come over. We did like car service, and we were able to bring some of the New Yorkers over to New Jersey. So we made sure that every time we did an event there, we showed footage so that other peers like, oh, look who's in Jersey. So now other people started coming on their own independently because where the Coffee Cave was situated was right downtown in Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, during this time while I'm in Jersey, so many other things is happening in New York. So when we come back to New York, right? Because totally different. I'm looking, I think like every 10 years I camouflage. I don't know what it is, but I come back to New York and no one knows who I am. Like the people who we were servicing as far as like music didn't even know who I was. I'm like, yo, what's up? And like, hey, until they realize,
that's crazy.
It's crazy.
No.
Because the last event, the last event that we did in New York, you was involved with that, the Gravity MC, right? And that
was into one of my old things. I have like the Gravity membership card #1. I have that shit.
Yeah, Red was a member too. She would come, but the thing is, we got tired of the bar guarantee. Like we were like, you know what? We're tired of paying the owner's rent, lease, and mortgage. In New Jersey, it's not like that because I don't like to call it that, but when we first arrived to New Jersey, they would call the crowd the NA crowd, which I'm like, why are you calling it the NA crowd? It's because the crowd don't drink.
Non-alcoholic?
So, right. So we didn't have to worry about no bar guarantee. So we were able to find a marketing strategy that was comfortable for everybody involved. So, doing a Coffee Cave was like really a big move for us out in New Jersey. We got a lot of love out there. So definitely Jersey. What's up, Disciple?
Hi, Disciple. Yeah, but I have a couple of questions.
Can I shout out Disciple again? Because you know what? I remember he gave me a shot, and you never forget people, right? He gave me a shot one time on WNYE on the 91.5. That was like one of the dopest. I always felt like that radio station and Wild Pitch went hand in hand.
Yeah, it did.
And they went hand to hand. And I want to thank him for that opportunity.
That's when Diamond used to be the host.
Diamond, yup. Yeah, man. DJ Dub was up on there at that time. Marvelous Marv. So, so thank you, Disciple, for giving me
DJ Ace.
DJ Ace, yup.
Tony Touch.
Yeah, man.
I mean, Tony Herbert. Politician Tony Herbert.
Tony Toon? Was it Tony Toon?
What's he call himself? I forgot it.
Tony Toon Herbert.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Political act. Well, what's he say? I forget what it's called. Anyway,
I think that's it.
He's a public advocate.
Didn't he also help them with Fort Greene and other things like that?
He helped us get a candlelight vigil for Voodoo Rain.
Mm.
He helped us close off Little West 12th Street.
And Colonel Abrams, he had did the fundraiser for him too. For Colonel Abrams.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shout out Telly too. All right, and Brett.
I missed. I'm gonna tell you guys
now, way back.
Our friends that are listening, I missed a couple of your questions because they scrolled by so quickly. So I'm just gonna let you know now.
But Disciple goes hand in hand with Wild Pitch also, because I think it was the hunter parties.
Yeah, and yep.
The hunter parties brought out a lot of people to Wild Pitch.
And Baruch.
Baruch. College parties in general were the bomb back in the day. I don't know. Do they have them now?
It's because we were.
You don't know. You don't know.
I think that's what it is. We were young, and in reality, like those parties that we're talking about were catered to younger crowds. It wasn't like a Bentley's crowd that was going to those parties. They were young heads.
Well, I will tell you this. I worked with Disciple up till, very recently, and he never ever forgot the college crowd, and he would always have a college promoter at all of his parties, always, to try to bring in college kids.
Yeah,
that's where we used to go to hand out the flyers, the Wild Pitch flyers.
Yeah,
the college, we used to stand on those lines for the college parties. Because most guys wasn't doing that. They were going down to the village, Broadway and stuff, where everybody else was going, ask the place. But I didn't see nobody handing out flyers really at those college parties.
Can I ask my questions yet, or?
Oh, no.
I have a few. I was trying to apologize to the people that are listening and watching, because some of their questions scrolled by and got away from me, and I can't bring them back, and I apologize if I do miss your question. But I know one of the questions, I think it might have been Rob Bass, was asking Will, how did you feel playing at Together in Spirit, and what was one of your great memories of doing that?
So Together in Spirit was, that was another breaking point for me, because and I got to give a shout out to Conrad Neblett for giving me that opportunity. That was a big risk.
We love him.
We love Conrad.
Yeah, that was, to me, that was like the breaking point for just with DJing. And I got to say, one of my greatest mistakes, and I'll go back to that, was I never advanced after Together in Spirit, and I think that's something that was a hard lesson to learn.
What do you mean advanced?
Because at some point you gotta evolve, you gotta move.
Yeah, but you did. You wound up doing your own thing.
Yeah, but there was a big gap between that. Like, that was a time where there was music out, like that residency, because that branded Together in Spirit brand was such a big brand, and I didn't really tap into that to where I branched out nationally, internationally. I should have. I was kind of stagnated. I got too comfortable, and I think that was the point where I could have elevated, and I really didn't. But Together in Spirit, to me, was like really that breaking point, because that was the key acknowledgement that New York City, New Jersey, all the tri-state area finally accepted my work, because you had people from all different walks of life coming into Together in Spirit. Like, everyone was up in there. You had Tony Humphries, Timmy Richardson, all the loft heads were going there, all garage heads, and Body and Soul would come to us afterwards. And after Shelter would end, they would actually won't go home. They would stay up.
We would be outside of that. I mean,
exactly.
Oh, we would be carrying on out in that parking lot.
So that to me was just, indication that, I definitely made that connection with people, with our people, the house family. So yeah, it was a great experience. Again, I want to give a special thanks to Conrad Neblett for that. It was Sundays was one of the best nights for me. That was like a musical church.
We had a lot of fun.
Yes, we did.
We had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Okay. So next question. Denise Wallet wanted to know, what is a mashup? I'm going to answer this, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong. Denise, a mashup is a mix of two songs. I think it's that simple, right?
At least
I'm not saying it's that simple. It may be artistically done, fancily done, but it's a mix of two songs.
Well, it's a mix of two songs that's made to sound like one.
Okay.
And it's usually at least
like I said, it should be at least two songs. It could be.
Okay, because then we can get fancy, and there could be 3 and 4.
It could be 8.
Oh my goodness.
It's been done.
All right. My next question is for Wil. When did you start playing at the Coney Island Boardwalk?
Oh wow! So that I was doing a lot of guest spots at first. Ruben Toro had his residency. I think that's after I think Cornell and them left.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if Ruben kind of like carried the torch after that, but Ruben Toro was doing those events, and then he invited me over to play as a guest. And again, I gotta really show love to Together in Spirit, because that's that connection with that that era that helped me get those those gigs. But Coney Island was definitely launched by Ruben and just what I was doing at that time with Together in Spirit.
Okay.
And I think that was what 2005, I think, or 4. I'm not sure, but it's during that time when Ruben was out there consistently.
Okay. One more question for you, Wil, and then I have some questions for you, Timmy. What motivated you to start Bliss?
Bliss, actually, there was a song that I wrote, and I entitled it Bliss, and I just liked the way it sounded, because the music that I play, I mean, I would like to think that it's very sensual, very sexy, very it has that fluidity, it has that melancholy, but at some point it just climax. It's like it bell curves and it brings you back down. So I wanted to create something that signified just being bliss, like something that's really explosive, because you never know when that explosion is going to happen. So that was my motivation for doing that. And I want to give a shout out to the Bliss NYC team, Rico Scott and Coco and Sandy Paradise Lady. They actually help, and the core members. And the reason why we have core members, because they help us with really keeping that brand moving. And without the members, I don't think, and without the team, I don't think Bliss would be where it's at.
Okay. Timmy Richardson.
Yeah.
First question, when you mentioned earlier that you finally decided to do your own, that your father used to say, do your own thing, do your own thing, do your own thing. And then you mentioned that you went out and you did it. If I recall, you said you didn't know where you got the money for the equipment, but you did it.
Mm-hmm.
Did your father know you were doing it? And did he support that effort?
I don't know if he knew that I even did that party. The only thing he knew was that I was on the radio. My family never really got involved in any of my music adventures. Okay. I have a younger brother. He never been to a party he hasn't been. I don't think he's been to a party ever. But
okay.
My late sister, I think she went to one party I did. I mean, I used to take her to parties when I was like 16 and she was a couple of years younger than me. But
okay. Well, any of them that you need to show them this video. Now, DHP, tell us about it.
I was waiting for that.
I knew that shit was coming. I was trying to take it easy.
That was a website that I stumbled on around, I think, 96 or 97, when they had the tree-like forums.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't that popular of a site. It had like maybe 50 members. The popular site at the time was Underground NYC.
Correct. Underground Network, correct.
You see Wil laughing, right?
Man, listen.
anyhow, that site, and I guess it was me and some other people had a run-in with the owner of the site. And so I just happened to send out an email about what he said to about 40 or 50 people. And so everybody migrated over to Deep House page, and then that was all she wrote. You know, I wound up being an admin and, you know, then eventually owner. And, you know, we wound up having close to 20,000 members, and we're in the top, you know, 100 sites in the world. Probably at one point, some days it would be like the top 75, but it was consistently in the top 100 sites in the world at that time.
Okay.
You know, like the 2000s, you know, and this is, you know, it was a thing of beauty actually, because it was a lot of truth being able to be told on there that people didn't want to hear about.
I want to make sure that people can see my face on this. BHP was not for babies, and you did not come on there if you didn't know what you were doing.
Your scams had to be on point.
Yep. Saying, and did you as did your mixes.
Well, I don't, you know, the mixes are mixes, but you know, when you come on the site, you know, saying you need a kidney and stuff like that while you're in a kidney coma, like I said, your scams need to be on point, even though some people believe that.
Yo, y'all should have did a DHP reality show, man, because that chat room, man, for real.
It was
I mean, the
been
thing about that site, you got to give a shout out to Gerard Rose, who basically developed that site on a college campus, using a college server, and we wound up bringing together a lot of people who would not have known each other if not for that site. A lot of people would not have been getting, you know, the gigs that they got and stuff like that if not for that site, because a lot of people got popular because of that site. A lot of parties got popular because of that site.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because people have to understand that this site existed prior to the existence of any social media platform.
Exactly.
And also a lot of people became popular on the site.
Yeah,
a lot of people became popular on the site.
That's
right.
what I mean. You know, a lot of people were able to benefit from that site. You know, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have been as popular as I was, you know, if not for that site. I don't know if people will admit that. It's on them, you know, but that's the reality of, you know, that's the truth of it. And especially because it was a little bit stagnant, you know. The scene was a little stagnant, and people, you know, just came back somehow, but people were just able to, at that time, MySpace came first.
Yeah.
But it was still, like you said, it was after all of the other forums, because remember there was Wave.
Oh yeah.
There was Southport. There was Yellow Orange. UNYC. That's what the most popular thing was. Those chats, those forums, and then
Yeah, but I think DHP stood out because even people, hundreds of people who didn't know each other still looked forward to popping shit, talking to each other every day. People who were at work were like, "This make my day go faster." People who were like, "We got a mystery in house music. Let's all solve it together." We've got this new, and see, we get very personal. We got this new chick who showed up, and I always tell the story because somebody came and they were going to the club and they suddenly were everywhere, and they went on DHP and they said, "Hey, people think that I was never there."
Who sent you? That's what they said.
People think that I'm new to this, but I'm not new. I was there. I was at the club many years ago, but I went away and I lost weight and all this. And all the people, because see, this is when the hard asses, they were like, "Where are the pictures? Where's the proof? Where are the receipts?" This went on for like 10 pages because nobody asked you anything. You should have just rolled along the wave. And because you put yourself out there, they just went It was so.
I think a lot of people.
It was. I hate to say it was fun, but it was fun.
They wanted to belong, and there was no reason to do all of that to belong. You know.
You here? You belong. You're just fun.
There was a lot of friendships that came about because of that site, and a lot of people that I know. There were a lot of people who I didn't even meet for years.
Yeah.
You know, who I was real good friends with, and then we finally met. But
and so a lot of people that are still friends, and it wasn't that you guys just had a DHP reunion.
Right. It was about 180 people showed up or something like that on that.
That's great.
You know, it's because it's people that touched everybody. Everybody was, you know, the DHP party became popular because of that, wound up being overseas and everything.
That's great.
Yeah, but all things come to an end, you know. Oh, I should say all good things, right?
Right. I have a question for both of you, and it's become one of my questions of the week. And that question is, what is your guilty pleasure right now?
Guilty pleasure?
Yes.
Right now.
A guilty pleasure.
What is it? Talk about it.
Right? Take a minute if you need it.
Talk about it.
Guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasures, women's feet.
Ha! That is such an honest, great answer.
I love women's feet. Like, it's just, to me, it's sexy, and it signifies just, you know, women being grounded to the earth. And like, when you see a pair of like pretty feet just like hanging, it does something for me. Like,
my temptation to lift my foot up to the screen is.
You don't want to do that. I'm a flip upside down. I'm gonna try to go through the screen. You ever see that movie Shocker? The guy tried to go through the TV screen, that horror flick.
I'll just snap a picture and send it to you.
Well, yeah, that's my guilty.
That's a great. I love that answer.
And you know why? Sometimes it's like, really, I feel guilty because I remember traveling to trains, and it'd be summertime, and I'm like watching like and I get caught out there. I feel guilty because they're looking like, this guy is like weird, you know.
He creeping on my feet.
But yeah, that's yeah.
All right. All right, Timmy.
Can't think of it. I really can't.
Oh, okay.
It's a guilty
That sounds like some bullshit.
If I think of one, I'll shout it out.
No, let me know.
That sounds like some bullshit. I said,
you know, I'm not even. I mean, please.
Yo, Sin, what's your guilty pleasure?
Shit.
Right now.
I'm gonna say my coffee machine at home is my guilty pleasure right now because it's so easy. Like, all you have to do is do this, boop, 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 and a perfect cup of coffee comes out every time. So I'm drinking like way too much fucking coffee.
Oh man.
And it's costing me like $1 something a cup in my own house.
Yeah. Yo, Red, what's yours?
Well, mine's I think remains the same in the last couple of weeks, which is this. Because as I've mentioned on here before, I haven't been able to drink wine. I'm allergic to sulfites.
If we're counting alcohol,
I found some crops that allow me to drink it, and now I'm going through the different types of wines, trying to figure out what I like, what I don't like, and it's a learning process. So I have to drink enough to figure it out.
I got it. I understand.
I have to drink enough.
I have to try the different varieties to figure out and then narrow it down. So, hence me trying this rosé. Thank you. Thanks, Butch.
So I have some questions.
Go.
So Jelly Bean Jay and Jack want Will to tell one of the best nights of Touch Tuesday.
The best night?
The best night of Touch Tuesdays.
Man, there was so many. I think, well, I believe when we were all, just us all being together, were like the best nights. Like every night to me was the best night. I can't think of a highlight because they were all great. But one thing, like I do remember, what to me was the best, is when the lights would go on. I don't know why Hector Cruz will always do this. He would circle around the club just looking around. I didn't understand why he did that.
Looking for
We all
money
knew,
or drugs or something that fell out of somebody's pockets.
but we all knew, like when the lights went on, watch Hector. Hector's gonna go. Oh, I know where Jelly Bean and Jay's coming from. All right, so that's that's Hector, with his great personality. I don't know. One day they surprised me and they brought a stripper into the club. It was my birthday celebration. It was just yeah, it was.
He said your birthday. He said your birthday on here.
Yeah. I think they're talking about. I think they want me to talk about that night, but I'm gonna tread lightly on that one.
The stripper to where?
Wait, did she have nice feet?
Did you have the stripper in Sapphire Lounge?
Yeah, twice. Twice. Yeah.
Did you say twice?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
But
we've had and we're still having a life.
But wait, everyone else took advantage of it for my birthday. They took advantage of the benefits of just having the stripper there. So everyone had a good time with that, though.
Right.
I had to play the music, so.
So you had the stripper, but you weren't even in proximity.
I was, because they put me in the middle, but yeah, that was Thanks, Jack and Jay. I remember that night.
Disciple wanted to ask both of you about traveling to Japan, like what that experience was like.
That was very nice. I went for 6 days. I'd never been on a plane before.
Wow.
And had to travel 15 hours. And I actually liked it. I didn't think I would because I really don't like heights like that. But for some reason, I don't mind being in a plane. But anyway, when I got there, it was funny because I had said to them, how are you going to know who I am, or how am I going to know who you are when I get to the airport? And they were like, don't worry, we'll know. And as I looked over everyone, the fact that I'm looking over everyone and the fact that I'm the only dark person in the whole damn place, I was very easy to find. Plus, I had 2 record boxes. Back then, we had record boxes. I had to lie at customs because they had already told me, don't tell them you're working because then they're going to want to see working papers.
Right.
So I was nervous about that.
So what'd you tell them?
Fun of traveling without a work visa.
Right, but what did you tell them?
Got a story.
I collect records.
Huh. Okay.
I trade records. I wasn't one of those cats who was giving out flyers in the airport. But anyway, yeah, I got there. I think I played in Tokyo. The first night, actually, they just let me do my own thing. I just walked around. Tokyo is like Times Square. And then I think they took me out to eat. The food was very, very good. And then the next night is when I played in Tokyo. And then I believe it was whatever night it was. I don't know if it was 1 or 2. I think it was 2 nights later. I played in Tomo Kamai. And it was at a club that was closing, and I was the only American DJ. At least this is what they told me. It was the only American DJ that ever played there. And then on the last night, I played at Precious Hall, which is one of the most incredible, places to play. The energy of the people. I mean, I played. It was like 10 o'clock. I was like, y'all going to open? What time do we open? They said, oh, whenever you're ready. So they opened the doors, and I played until 11 o'clock the next morning. And it was a Sunday night going into a Monday. And the incredible thing about that place, they have like this, like a wall. And all these American DJ signatures on it. I got to add my name to it, but it was incredible seeing the DJ names like, Nick and Victor and Larry, and, all in, Precious Hall. So that was my experience there. I never got to go back again. But at least I could say I got to go.
And you got your name on the wall.
Yeah.
Your props.
And I got a kimono. I don't know where it is now, but
Wil Milton.
So I definitely want to give credit to Danny Crivet, who actually he co-signed me going to Japan. Him and Hisa from King Street.
I should also mention that. Well, it was probably through Greg, but it was Hisa that sent me there also.
So and Yoshi Hisa H. So Rio Watanabe, who was the one of the biggest promoters out there in Japan, bringing Danny Crivet, Andre Collins, Timmy Richardson, Victor Rosado. So like he actually Rio sponsored me, going into Japan. So I was playing in gigs like Club Yellow, and it's what's amazing about Club Yellow is when you pass by it, it looks like a restaurant. But when you go downstairs, it's a whole different world. It kind of resembles Shelter in a way, you know what I'm saying, on Hubert Street.
Mm-hmm.
But Club Yellow was a great experience because the sound system. I mean, and it's funny with Japan, they know about you before you even come into their country, because I'm half Japanese, and when I arrived there, they already knew that, and they were asking questions about my culture. Have I ever, been to Japan before? But my first time going, I played at Club Yellow, and then
had you been there before?
That was my first time.
Okay, got it.
And that was what I was saying about Together in Spirit. Like I launched it, but I didn't continue. It stopped. So then I played, same thing with Timmy. I played at Precious Hall, but the crazy thing about Precious Hall is there's no closing time.
No, that's what I'm saying.
You're playing for 24 hours, and it could be one person on the dance floor, and you still have to play. So I'm like, all right, it's like, 6 a.m. Like, no, you keep going. But having that experience, that taught me really the concept and the skill set of marathon events.
Stretching it out, yeah. Because I had 2 boxes of records, but I brought a lot of compilations, and I had some cassettes that had some stuff on. Actually, Camacho gave me some unreleased stuff before I went over there.
Yeah. Yeah, but definitely props to Sato out there, man. Like he, definitely, looked out, and Rio Watanabe, those guys really took care of me out there. And then the second time I played at Club Air before, like maybe a year before they closed, and then I can't remember the actual other event. I played in Guma, so shouts out to Keto for hooking me up with that as well. But Japan is a beautiful place to play. But I'm actually red flag. I don't know if I should say it, but I'm gonna say it anyway.
Oh, say it.
I'm actually red flag in Canada because Timmy's story shed light onto what happened to me out in Canada. So what it is, some promoters don't want to pay the tax for you going through
customs visa.
Right, for the records.
Right.
So
fucking work visa, yo.
So you go
visa.
so you go to customs, and you're bringing these records, because at that time there's no USB. You're bringing records in a flight case. So they're asking you, what's these records, and you have to tell them, look, I'm your gifts. I'm giving it away. So I think it was what's the guy's name? I can't remember, but he at that time I was working with the artist Kimley, and they wanted me to go out there with her. Jojo Flores. It was Jojo Flores' event, and they booked us to play. So they made it clear when we arrived to Canada, don't tell them why you're here.
Right.
All right. So I get, we get to Canada, we go to customs, and they're asking us, okay, why are you here? Like, we're here, visiting. Who's waiting for you? So like we tell them the person who's waiting for us. So they go check with the guy outside, like, yeah, Wil Milton, the DJ.
Oh.
So I'm like, yo.
Oh.
So now I'm with the artist Kimberly, and she's like, you know, what's going on? I'm like, oh, got a situation. Now, mind you, we're in Canada, which is border for everything. Right?
Yeah, you could go across the country, I mean the world, easier than going in Canada.
Yeah. So they held us in customs. They interrogated us. They asked us so many questions, and you know, finally we said, yeah, we're here. We have a gig. And then they found a flyer that I had in one of the luggage, and they're like, you got to go back around. So now every time I go to Canada, I'm flagged. Like I got to go through customs. I got to get interviewed and
questionnaires.
Yeah, but
well, at least you can still go there because, I mean, who wants to not be able to go to Canada? At the end of the day, we love Canada.
I feel like that movie Midnight Express. I don't know, like it was weird, like that whole thing. But you know.
No, but that's why Canada still remains so. There's a at least for me, I don't know. I feel like for a lot of people, there's a soft spot for Canada. That's because it has remained so. I don't know the word, but there's something about Canada. Yeah. They're like, we're not playing that.
It remains so not America.
Yeah,
true. And they're also like, don't come here with your nonsense. You're gonna do this right.
Right. So I
but
that's very funny to me.
That was a messed up night, yeah.
Was the guy that you went to play for, was he a promoter? Did he have a radio show or anything like that?
Yeah, he had a big club out there.
But did he have a show? I'm just asking. I'm just trying to see if it might be well, I'm just gonna say the names: Michael Terzi and Tony DeCiprius.
No, it was Jojo Flores.
Oh, Jojo.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, because they would frequently come to Together in Spirit and hear me play, and they were like, "Yo, we want that same vibe," and I'm like, "All right, let's do it." And it just got really messed up that day, so I never had a chance to play, and it caused me a flag. So it's all.
Ladies and gentlemen, next week we have Jojo Flores coming on to give his side of the story.
I would love to hear his side of the story.
Oh, we're gonna work on it now.
Yeah, because
Jojo, we got ways to get in touch with Jojo. We gotta call his ass and see.
It was a 2-day gig, and they were like, "Well, you know, we came back to New York." They were like, "Well, no, you can still come the next day, like drive up." I'm like, "You understand? I can't come back out there." But it was a mission.
Huh.
Oh, sucks.
Yeah.
All right. Wow.
So you have any other questions? I have another question about like for Will, how big was your record Gravity with King Street in 2005?
Yeah, that was one of the records that allowed me to go back to Japan. So also Rodney Carter was the vocalist for that. So that record actually helped me because it was on King Street, and you know, got a lot of love out there for that record. Thank you for the person who asked that question.
Yeah, that was Disciple again.
Hey,
he knows a lot.
Disciple is a somewhat house historian also. So
yo, he has like Tony Humphries was like 90% unreleased. Disciple had all the unreleased songs, and yeah, dude is amazing, man. Yeah.
You guys, did you see the article he put out?
Yeah, I saw
it.
I did.
Yeah.
About his book?
I don't know if it's a book.
There's a book.
Well, it seemed like an excerpt or something, maybe.
It's from the book.
I saw online.
Yeah.
Disciple, you correct me if there's a whole book.
He has a whole book that he's working on.
I think the book is.
To find out more about it, you can watch the archive of Bedtime Stories with Disciple.
Featuring DJ Disciple.
Hey.
Just saying. Won't you tell me all about it?
I think it's about that time for us to ask you, gentlemen, what about right now? Like, is there something that you have happening right now that you want to tell the world about? I know, Will, I've been catching you before Funkbox on Sundays on Twitch. Like, okay, let me get over here first before I got it. All right, and now I'm on Funkbox, but.
Oh, you mean on Saturdays?
Yeah, on Saturdays. No, it's Saturdays that I catch you before Rich Medina.
Yeah.
Always before something, and I'm like, oh, Will is on. And then
and on that note, Will, when you answer with this question, can you? I mean, you got a hell of a set. Is that your house?
It's my studio. Yeah, it's a studio. It's another room in the studio that I use. Yeah.
In your house?
No, it's a studio.
Well, still very fancy. All right, go on. Answer the question. I'm sorry.
That was your
What do
question,
you have
right?
going on?
Right, that was your question?
Yeah, no, the question was, what do you have going on or coming up that we should know about?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm working on an album right now. You know, to do an album, it takes like 30 songs to literally record. So, you know, I've already finalized 2 songs. One song entitled Tell Me, and that's doing pretty well right now. So that's going to be part of the album that I'm working on. Ray, you remember
Not to be confused with Tell Me All About.
No.
I'm just saying that just happened. That just like that.
Yo, Ray,
A lot of drama behind that song.
huh?
That's a lot of drama behind that song.
Yo, Ray, you remember when we were in the studio together?
Oh, I was just waiting. I was waiting to say, like, you know, fun fact, people. Once upon a time, myself, Will, we did a song together. Nothing came of it, but it was not that song. So on that note, I was waiting for you to finish so I could be like, you need to
but
back in.
how come you never, because I've heard you sing and you can sing, so how come you never pursued, and maybe I should have asked this last week, when was it?
Right. Red.
Why did you pursue us, whether it's house music or whatever?
That's a good question. Why didn't I pursue? I think I didn't push hard enough for myself to do whatever.
But did you want to?
You know, I want to sing.
Like, did you see like Barbara Tucker on stage or India on stage?
No.
I went to music conference and
You know
go,
what I see for myself, I'm very comfortable singing. I could sing in the studio. I could sing wherever. I'm not the one for the live shows. I don't think. But everybody doesn't do a live show, so that doesn't change anything.
So there was no, this could be me, as he put it.
No, never on the stage, but on a song, on a record, whatever, things like that. Yes, and this could still be me. People, I'm right here.
I like it because I have dreams also of being.
I'm right here.
Of putting out an album, but not being an artist.
well, you've always said
Do you
that.
want to produce it?
No, I don't want to put out an album, but I don't want to be.
No one knows it's gonna be her.
Right, unless it becomes like some magnificent hit, then
Wait, are you gonna sing on this album?
I could sing, I could produce some of the music or co-produce them.
In your mind, what are you doing? Let's get this together right now.
All of the above,
Okay.
The P. Diddy of house music.
I mean, I love music, and I don't think that music is necessary to categorize it.
Oh no, absolutely not. I just wanted to know in your mind, because I could totally see you producing an album.
Yeah, and I have a whole gimmick that I would do if it became a hit and I needed to actually perform and shit. I got this whole thing. I'll tell you about it on a side note, because if it ever actually happens, I don't want the world to know.
There we go. Well, folks, you heard it here. Besides JoJo Flores next week, there's going to be performances by Sin Rose and Redness under their guys.
Right. But so you have an album that's coming out, and
so yeah, you can definitely catch us on Bliss, you know, the Bliss NYC, my Twitch, Wil Milton Twitch. And we're there every Saturday, 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. And you know what's really cool about the streaming? It's like it's something versus nothing, and you can make so much out of these streaming, networking, because that's exactly what it is. It's networking. And I said it last week on my show. There's no longer no such thing as a bedroom DJ, because everyone has the spotlight.
Right.
Like, so many people have access to, you know, DJs, other listeners that we didn't really have access to before. So I think this is a great opportunity for everyone to really take advantage and this launch out. Bless you, Sin. Launch out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
You muted it?
I'm going through it over here. I keep putting this shit on mute because I've been fucking having these chain sneezes. It's just not cute, but thank you.
She's got allergies. Well, Will, I gotta say, I agree with you. I said something similar. And right before I got on with you guys, I did a sound test with DJ Sarabi. And apparently some people know her. I didn't know her though. Twitch recommended her to me. And one of the things I was saying was that you do a party right now every Saturday. It's not like you have the pressure of a bar guarantee. It's not like you have the pressure of, oh, I played a song and I cleared the room of this one song. Like, you know what I mean? That the things that happen in real life, we're like, it's great. If you can sustain yourself and do that, it's great. And it's put us on to a lot of people that we did not know. And people need to realize when Twitch and these other places recommend something, check it out. It won't hurt you. You might learn something and meet some new people.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great way to like really break records now, you know, to really expose music, because it's not like you have limitations. You have everything within your reach, you know, you just got to just use it correctly. And I think that we all definitely doing our thing to stay connected. And believe it or not, our people appreciate the fact that we're actually doing this, taking time out to do it, you know, to stay
I'm on both ends of that. As a person doing it and a person listening to it, I'm on both ends. Yeah. So yeah, I get it. Yeah. Timmy Richardson, what you got coming up? What do we need to know about?
In my bedroom.
Let me tell you something right now, Timmy Richardson. If you wanted to, if you felt like it, if you wanted to bring back DHP next week, it would be on fire, because everybody's home, everybody's over the Facebook, like we all did it. Like you said, it was MySpace, it was this, it was that. We all did all of those things.
But everybody's Facebook now, and
you say that, but you know what? It's not the same. It's not the same, because this was everybody in one thread.
Yeah, but it was
also a personal aspect of it.
It was still up until last year, so nobody was going there except for Mike Barnes, and so nobody was really going there because, like I said, things come and go. You know, it was.
But you know, the difference between that forum and other like platforms is that that one was really a house community forum. It was like a space specifically for the house community, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you know, I think that's just the difference between that and Facebook, where you have all of these other little sub communities in this big giant community, you know?
But also, I think Facebook is a little less personal. It seems very personal, but it's less personal in the idea that if I put something on my page and all these people comment, but it's still my thing. And DHP was like, once you put it out into the world, it became everybody's subject. And it was, you know, if you were passionate about it, it's just different. Now people will be like, I can censor you, I can stop you, I can delete you, I can delete you.
A good topic for like Clubhouse or some shit.
They could delete your posts.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They could block you because it's somebody's stuff.
It's not the truth. You know what I mean? You know, there's never any reason to delete a post unless somebody, you know, said something that was totally, you know, crass or something like that.
I'm going to say I don't believe that one bit either.
Shit all the time. You stop playing. I'll be like, no, I'm not interested. Thanks, but no thanks.
Oh, deleting people?
Is there comments?
No, censoring people, because I could tell you what on the Shelter website, Freddie was the moderator, and I remember saying some things, and they were not rude, they were not crass, they were not at all, and they were never meant to be. And no,
but that's what I said. Comments should never be deleted unless there's something crass.
That was part of the reason that people stopped commenting on there and went elsewhere, because it was like, come on, we're just having fun, or we're just talking about whatever, and you want to censor things, and it's a club, it's a party. We don't need to be censored. So, but thank you.
But anyway,
right?
Yeah, I do that DHP radio still.
Yep, which I love. I can't front.
And the DHP page on Facebook, whose is it?
It's mine and Torrance. Oh, DHP, Deep House page.
Yes.
Both of them. Yeah, it's me and Torrance.
Okay.
Um, uh, I also do a station on Saturday. I used to say Sunday mornings, 2 a.m. to 6 in Montreal on 90.3. They get about 20,000 listeners a week.
Hmm.
Um, and I do the occasional mashup here and there.
So
The
Jack
mashups,
wants to know where
Denise.
can he get them? Jack wants to know where can he get the mashups.
I'm actually trying to put together like something where they're all gonna be like a website or something, because it's probably around 500 to 700 mashups.
Wow.
Maybe around 500.
I'm curious for both of y'all. What was the record that you put on in a party that was your first time playing the record that you were surprised at the reception it received, whether positive or negative? It could have been either.
Twisted. Because at that time no one was really playing Twisted, and that song actually happened by accident. Twisted, Conrad Neblett had a song.
I knew you were going to say it was Together in Spirit, right?
Yeah, because at that time we were the only one that was playing that. And when I heard it, I'm like, this song Twisted is so, it's different. So then, I would test it towards the end of the night. That would be like the end of the night song. And then gradually I would play it towards the peak hour. And then, being that it's such a slow song and it's not a four. Yeah. So, seeing the response that you can actually play that song in peak hour and people will go crazy nuts. That song did it for me. That, signifies that, everything doesn't have to be a, fast pace. You can play a slow song ballad and it's effective. So that song.
Okay, well, I'm going to give 2 more questions on my end before we wrap this up.
Wait,
one.
I didn't.
Huh? Oh, I'm sorry. I go ahead.
Question. I want to hear your answer.
Okay. I'm gonna say Curtis Blow Christmas rapping.
Hmm.
It was 2015, close to my 50th birthday, and I was playing the whole night at Deep Space at Cielo. And you wouldn't really think that record would get over in Deep Space. But that's the whole point of Deep Space, is that you can play any kind of record in there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I always used to love playing there, because you could play any kind of record in there. And I played Hotel California in there. It was the beginning of the night, but
who doesn't love that song?
Huh?
I said, who doesn't love that song anyway? So
right.
You still don't hear it in the club.
Okay, Eagles.
You don't hear it in the club.
I've heard it in the club, but I can't say who did it. But go on, because you did.
Well, I played the stripped down version. But yeah, that was an amazing night. But that's what I like to do. That's why my show is called Varieties of the Spice of Life. I did an MF Doom tribute a couple of weeks ago, and I don't think anybody would have thought I'd do that. So we got again that.
I'll take any of those mixes via email, which is the way that I like them, so I can download to my phone. Thanks.
You only have to send it to her, and she's going to share it with me, and I won't share it.
Already know this, Timmy. Okay.
That's a tribute to my father again, who had a variety of records, and they used to play all kinds of records: reggae, calypso, Judy Collins. You play anything, and then hearing Frankie Crocker on the radio, who I shared birthday with, play all kinds of music, You know what I mean?
Belated birthday.
Hmm?
Happy belated birthday.
Oh, you suck.
You too, Will. You
Thank
too.
you.
We didn't forget your birthday either.
Thank you.
So, Red, you said you had like 2 more
I
questions.
have 2 more questions before we wrap this up. First of all, I have a suggestion. Kim Lightfoot said put those mashups on Bandcamp.
Hello.
Denny Slim, hey girl, hey. She wants to know, Timmy, how did you end up playing for the Prince Memorial?
Hmm.
Ooh.
Well, let me first say first that one of the mashups did come out on restricted access. Made a lot of money too. I was surprised. That was a surprise. But anyway, Spike Lee called me. No, but the reason why he called was because I had done that 12-hour Prince tribute when he passed away, and it was on my podcast. And I believe Spinner, who usually plays for all of Spike, he's Spike's DJ, but it couldn't do it that year. And so I guess he had Spike listen to the tribute, and then Spike called. And, you know, Kim was the other DJ. And that was a very emotional day because when I played The Beautiful Ones, I started getting choked up because Red was there.
I was there.
And you know the energy that was going on in that party. Yes, that's what that night. Spike was drinking those nonstop, but he knew what he was doing. He was in director mode nonstop. Play this. Play something hot. But that was a great experience. You know, the guy asked us how much we wanted to get paid. He doubled what we asked for. You know, he looked out for us because it's not his money; it's from the sponsors. But you know, it was a great day. I wish I could have stretched out to play what I wanted to play, but it wasn't my party; it was his, so we had to do it the way he said to do it. You know.
So I'm gonna say I said this. I don't know if it was last week or the week before that I mentioned that during that event I went to Spike Lee and I said, could you ask the MC to stop talking so much so we can hear the music. He was like, get the fuck out of here. But Kim Lightfoot is reminding us of the moment that you played Purple Rain and it started to rain.
It did.
It
and
did.
The funny thing is, the gig was
that was a whole moment.
The gig was supposed to be over at 6, and we didn't really wound up playing Purple Rain till around 7. And I mean, it was a beautiful day if I remember, and then it just started getting cloudy. And then we throw on Purple Rain, and it literally started raining. It was like I couldn't understand that, you know, because that was a sunny day.
It was a beautiful day. Remember, it started with the marching band.
Yep.
It was a beautiful day.
Yep. But
okay, I think I had one more question, but I might have lost it. That all just happened. That was.
Damn rosé.
You still have that?
No, don't blame the rosé. Oh, I know.
I was gonna say, you still have that Prince mix up somewhere for people to listen to, the 12-hour Prince mix, which I have in my phone, by the way.
Very good question.
It's on the podcast. Just search Timmy Richardson podcast.
Well, where's the podcast? Tell us where to find it.
Podomatic. But if you go to Google, no one's going to remember that. Just go to Timmy Richardson podcast. It'll come up on Google. It's the last mix on the podcast. There's maybe about 30 mixes.
How about we just ask people to remember Timmy Richardson, and then you share it on your Facebook page or whatever, and that people can find it.
I mean, I could do that too.
I'm interested. All right, just share it. It'll be at the top of your stuff.
Yo, Timmy, do you believe like the mashups are better with ballads, like songs that are ballads? When you doing mashups? Because of the double timing.
It depends. A lot of people do that because let's be honest, a lot of these remixes are really nothing but mashups.
Mhm.
They just, taking their own, beats of, music that they're doing and putting, vocals over it. Now that's not to say that a lot of guys are no joke, like Mike Morrow, Moplin. A lot of guys out there doing a lot of nice remixes of old songs and ballads and stuff like that. But a lot of this stuff is just, like you said, it's just double timed, and it's like you could get away with it. Say like something like "Say Yes," and a lot of times you can get away with it without knowing that it was a slow song in the first place. So if you don't really follow music well, then you wouldn't know that "Say Yes" was a slow song in the first place. But when you start remixing stuff like "Always and Forever," I just never heard the remix that sounded good to me. It's Always and Forever. Why? Like, come on, that's the last record in the party.
Yeah, leave it alone.
Right, don't fuck with it.
Like, so I want to dance fast. Dancing fast for Always and Forever. Come on.
So on that, I have
Now I did do something with "Miss You" by Hal Melvin and the Blue Notes. I'll leave it to y'all to figure out if it's good or not.
My favorite one is that.
Yeah, I'm doing a song in my head right now. I'm like, go on, because you're treading like.
I Miss You by Hal Melvin and the Blue Notes.
I'm on it. I got it all in my head. Treading lightly. Go on.
I'll upload it to Facebook or something.
All right. Thank you. Or just send it to me privately, whatever you want to do. But so does any of what you just said have any effect on what you mentioned earlier about there's a lot of controversy with the song Tell Me All About It?
The thing about the mashups is I believe it inspired, if you think around the time when I was getting, a lot of love from them, it inspired Register to start doing them. Because I don't think there would have been no "I Get Deep" with the D2, D4, whatever that was over it.
Right.
That he used to run in the club. He was inspired by me doing mashups, and then he even played the Jill Scott Golden one I used to do. He had that in rotation. He had a few of them in rotation.
The Led Zeppelin joint that I like.
The Golden.
The Led Zeppelin one.
Oh yeah. I never heard that nowhere though. I played it, but that was a good one too. But I didn't have to work hard on that one because somebody had already done a remix of it. So I just kind of took out a lot of what they did and used the. I think I left the drums and the vocals.
All right.
But sometimes you get away with it, but it's gotta sound right. A lot of guys just do stuff just to do it. I think they run out of ideas. You go on Tracksource and it's okay. You have to read through a lot of all these like where are all the ideas gone? They're all just disco samples and
Well, this is actually my last question, and because she's asked it 3 times, I'm gonna put it out there. So Denise Wallach would like to know. She first asked, "What was a mashup?" She wants to know, could you name one mashup? So I'm gonna ask each of you to name one mashup for her.
I just named a few. I'll tell you the truth.
What it was mashed.
In Europe, there was one that actually went to #1, and it was a mashup of Riders on the Storm and Rapture.
Okay.
And the song went to #1.
Harry.
I'm saying something right now just so you can see my face, because I'm hearing it, and in my mind, it sounds really, really nice.
Right.
So to me, like when I think of a true mesh, is the Kim songs, K-E-M.
Okay.
That's what I mean.
Right. So those songs are more like true mashups. Like it's putting a a beat behind a song and just letting it float on. Like some people use, I don't know, like Timmy, I don't know if you use the sequencer and program and stuff like that, but my understanding how it works is that they would blend it into the program and then lock it.
Yes.
So it's right.
I mean, I used to do them when I first started. I was doing about that. Golden was done by hand. I just mixed it by ear.
Yeah.
But then I started. I didn't want to, I wanted to get more creative with it. You can't really get creative just, blending two records together.
But like the hip hop culture and the mixtape culture, they were doing those meshes too, like way in the 80s. Like,
Ron G was the best at it, in my opinion. Because again, I was always obsessed with guys who mixed and mixed well, like Merlin, Timmy.
But Timmy is a DJ who can mix well and hold it for a while. Is that not still a mashup? Just a live mashup?
That would be the argument on Deep House page back in the day. No, that's just a guy mixing.
Man!
That's what you're supposed to be doing, Although I don't think you're supposed to do it like nonstop the whole night. You know what I mean? I think you got to break it up.
No, that wasn't the question at all. I'm not trying to fight with you.
No, I'm just doing this, saying the distinction between a mashup and mixing in a club. We all come from that school of blending.
Okay.
That is a lost art these days, but guys like Will or Kim, a Disciple, we come from that school of like I could listen to Nick Jones all night long, because that guy used to pull mixes out of his ass. I couldn't even understand. Yeah, one on his answering machine once. I was like, oh, that's a dope mix. But it's not a mashup.
Right. It's not. Yeah, so the mashup, it requires more manipulation, right? Like, there's more to it you got to do. Where a mix, you just do it on the fly and that's it. You want X.
2 songs have to be in key.
Yeah.
Because I've done some bad ones, but that's the way it goes.
Well, isn't that how you learn what the good ones are?
Yeah. I mean, Will, when you got a hit on your hand, you just sit there, you keep on listening to it over and over.
Yeah, you feel it.
Gotta make it even better. Yeah. I can't imagine like you somebody like Josh, and he's sitting there like coming out with hit after hit, like, it's the next one.
It's sometimes it's challenging to do that, to create great records like the great follow-ups. It's hard to do that sometimes, because you wanna there's a certain formula that you have to stick to, and sometimes you want to go outside of that formula.
He's doing it almost 40 years.
Yeah, so that's what makes Josh. He's got that formula.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know more about this, go back to the Bedtime Stories featuring Josh Milan.
Yeah.
He's dope.
So YouTube at Sid Rose and Redness.
Bedtime Stories.
Good times.
Well,
yeah, most artists don't have a 40-year. Well, some do, like the Eagles. Most artists, 40 years, you don't stick around 40 years and get better.
Madonna, she can hold it down.
I'm not saying not one word.
Y'all don't think she can? Huh?
You didn't make me say something.
I've been over her for a minute. I can't. I used to love Madonna.
I used to
love produced
her.
by Nile Rodgers.
I'm going to say what I saw last week because I'm not. I don't watch music videos anymore, and I watched one Missy Elliott video, which took me into a rabbit hole of all these new videos from artists, and one of them was Madonna. And because of this new, whatever this app is called, this face, whatever app it's called, the thing that can make you look like somebody else.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about? It puts your face on.
Oh, deep state.
It might
be Well, might be more than one. Then the one I know is Face Something, and it's creepy, and it's got people that we know starring in videos that they were never in, and whatever. But it made me realize that because in this recent video she did, and it's called "My Name Is Madonna," if I'm not mistaken. She looks like she's 20 years younger than what she is. And no offense to anybody, but let's keep it real. Madonna's white. She's not going to age like us. She's not half Japanese. She's not any of these things. And she looks so young in the video. I was like, this could easily be her face 20 years ago.
Let me tell you something.
And I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
Technology. Did you see the last episode of The Mandalorian? They had motherfucking Luke Skywalker in that bitch. It is real.
What's scary about it is that
I don't think that was Luke Skywalker like the real. I think that was a guy that looked so much like himself.
It was a youthful Mark Hamill.
No, I looked it up. It wasn't him. It's a guy who looks like him, because that would have freaked me out. And I was very upset. And it wasn't him. It wasn't him.
Okay.
All right. That was like, wait.
I know they have the technology.
But we know they have people we know are doing it without any, you don't need any production values. All you need is your phone. And it's creepy.
Yo, Red, I got a question for you. Like what's a quality DJ like in your eyes? Like what's a quality?
Quality. That's a great question. Quality. A DJ that is not afraid. A DJ that is not stuck in a genre, because that's not how we came up.
Right.
A DJ that can mix but doesn't over mix, but can mix enough to be like, and I will use, although it is definitely not my only example, but I'll use Shelter as the example. Back in the day when Timmy used to be mixing, I used to put my hands up. If you all remember, I used to be in front of the speaker. I'd put my hands up. This hand represented one song and this was the other song. And I would put them up and I would hold it like this. And people around me would just be whatever. But in my ears, I could hear it all happening. And I would be saying to people, do you know that these two songs have been playing for like 3 minutes? Which to, I guess, an average listener, even what I'm saying, they'd be like, oh, 3 minutes, whatever. But you guys know as a DJ, 3 minutes, that's a fucking mashup.
Yeah.
It's a mashup. It's a live mashup. And I'd be like, but as we've evolved now, because that was back then, and not a lot of people were doing it. There are a lot more people who have developed that skill and can do it. And I think that's also part of the reason why I appreciate some of the DJs that I've discovered on Twitch, where I'm like, wow, there's so much more happening that we don't know about. And that is quality for me. And just the whole, I think really though, the most of it is not being stuck in a box. You don't have to mix all the time. And I mentioned last week, Doug Sherman was on. Doug plays for the Loft. He's like the predecessor to Mancuso. And someone said to me, I was on your channel and all these things were happening. And I came over there and I was like, oh, it's boring. And I was like, then maybe that's not for you. But it gave me the highest numbers on my channel. And that meant a lot. And it tells a lot, where sometimes less is more. He's playing great music. He's playing great selections. He's not doing a lot. He's just playing good music. So it's all there.
Gotcha. Yo, Sid.
Yeah.
How about you? What's a great quality DJ?
I always love, my favorite DJs are the ones that can take me on a journey through the music, so that I can start in the beginning of the party and it's ease my way into a peak, or go through some experiences that, like, you know, I want to dance now. Okay, now I want to just relax and chill or talk, and like, but my favorite DJs are the ones that give me, you know, some depth in that experience. Like, not just, okay, I'm going to come in, I know this top 20 works, I'm going to play these top 20s. I'd actually much rather hear songs that are unexpected than to hear that top 20, you know, in a way that still moves me. So, you know, like for me, that's my favorite kind of experience. I love, like, in terms of booking a DJ, I love someone who has all of that and is easy to work with, that is a pleasure to be around, that's personable, that is not fucking a dick. I'm just saying, like, you know, it's much easier. There's so many people that are talented, right? I don't have like, oh, my top 10 DJ. I don't have that.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of really good, talented DJs, and I wouldn't dare try to think of a list because I would forget someone.
Right.
You know, that I really think is great. But yeah, I would say, you know, that I love to have someone that, like, because I love all kinds of music and I want to hear all of it.
Gotcha.
You know, and there's so much out there that, like, it really gets me a little bit upset when I hear like people going into that same formula every fucking set they're playing, and it's like, yo, I heard this same set a month ago, 2 months ago, 4 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And there's so much music out there that you don't have to. I think that's lazy.
If I don't hear more Bonnie Raitt, I'm just saying, y'all better know about it. Y'all better learn about it, because I got my tractor. I'm in here practicing. I'm in here getting my shit together, and I'm not coming out like I'm a DJ. I'm not. I did not put in the work to do that, but I can be like, but I got Bonnie Raitt for you. I'm not scurry. But Joy, all of
the people that, like, it's easy to work with them. They give me what I need, you know?
Yeah.
That's, you know, I like to be around people that are fun in the party and that can make the party fun.
I think that's important because the two of you, like, you know, you and Red have the power of really booking. And I think it's important that people understand and know, you know what I'm saying? Like, it takes the guesswork out of the way when you know, like, if you're tapping into a certain market, that's that market you focus on, right? So it's like if you're building on something that's relevant to what you're doing, you don't want to go outside the box. But of course you want something different, but it's important to know what bookers are looking for, because you have your own marketing strategy and it has to match your campaign. And I think it's important for people to bring that. It's just like, you know, with 360 deals, with artists today, nowadays, you don't have to be talented, but if you have a YouTube channel that's got millions of listeners, you're getting that 360 deal.
Yeah.
So, but
you're absolutely right. And what you're saying is a double edge, because Sin and I normally in the regular world will be doing events in clubs, and that's where there sometimes is a limit put, because we have to make sure that we are getting a bar guarantee, making sure that we have enough people that the DJ is going to get paid what they ask for, making sure all the logistics, which is not the crowd's
responsibility or concern.
Exactly, but it's an actual thing. And that's where, you know, we could go on and be like, hey, I just discovered this DJ on Twitch and I want to do this. And you can't, not that you can't, but you won't always do that, because you also are like, I'm also not going to want to end this night and I have to pay the bar guarantee. And that's where it becomes a double edge, you know. So that's what kind of the beauty of what's happening right now, like you said.
Right. Yeah. Definitely.
And shout out to the person who said that I was telling the truth because I was scratching because my little puppy was on me. And so she got me itching. And somebody's like, Red is telling the truth because she's itching while she's telling the story.
All right.
Oh, superstitions. It's like my mom. If something dropped and fell, she'd be like, you see, it's the truth. It's on the floor. It's the truth.
All right, y'all. We got to get out of here.
I want to thank you guys for being here with us. I really
and fun.
You.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for the invite.
I have really lovely, great memories.
And so many stories and so many receipts. These people better know where y'all came from.
You know, it's funny because when we started doing Bliss NYC, people thought I just came out of nowhere, and I'm like,
this is why receipts are really, really. This is why we do these things that people are like, yeah, that's not how that happened at all. You know, it's really good. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
guys, and you were both fun too.
Thank you.
You were. I'm so glad because we had thought, like, who the fuck are we gonna put with Timmy's ornery ass?
Will called me earlier and he was like, I can't believe you put me with Timmy. I'm so excited I have story.
Yeah, we talked about that. I'm like, this is gonna come full circle. Because
he was like, yes.
Yo.
I remember
oh, here we go again. As we started, we end.
back when I was still buying records, I should say collecting records, and I would see Will coming or Will would see me. You know, one of us was going or one of us was coming to buy more records. And some record show, you know, some places 6 a.m. in the morning. And at one point I wound up being the guy selling the records in those shows. But yeah, we bumped into each other for years.
Yup.
Years, you know.
Yeah. Wow.
And we're all blessed to still be knowing each other all of this time. I mean, really, you know, like Red, I think I met Red back in like 89 or 90 and Kilimanjaro or something like that.
Not Kilimanjaro's, but back then during that time, I was at Two Eyes. I was at.
No, this is way before Two Eyes. I met you way before Two Eyes.
During Two Eyes time.
I met you around when I was meeting Patty and Tina and Annette. No. Two Eyes didn't come till 97.
That's 90.
No, it was before that. But it's like just like because I know I was at the 60s.
Maybe you didn't know me and I saw you. That's what it was.
Won't you tell me all about it?
Yeah, Two Eyes came because Two Eyes was after the beach. Remember we started at Coney Island. That was.
No, I didn't do that. I would come there with Two Eyes. If you remember, I would come with Kimmy.
It was called Lynx before Two Eyes.
And me and Kimmy would be there acting out.
Kimmy.
Kim Santoro.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that's the Kim you're talking about, Timmy. Cause Santoro, because she used to work the bar at Achilles. I think you talking about.
She worked the door.
She worked the door at 622.
Yeah, and she did the bar sometimes at Achilles though.
And she did the co-check at 622.
Okay.
And I think she did the co-check at Kilimanjaro too.
Oh, Kimmy she did more doors than coat checks. Anyway.
Well, the door was
anyway.
Nancy Lopez.
Nancy. Did she do security too?
I'm gonna tell one last story.
Shout out to Mark D.
we were doing 622 Broadway. You know how you had to come down the stairs, and then there would be me collecting the money. And so Kim comes running down the stairs. There's this guy with a gun. He's coming downstairs. And for some reason, security was like, she was more bold than them, but they came running down the stairs and his boys came behind them and the guy was drunk. They said, you know, we were like, yo, you can't come in here with a gun. They were bridge and tunnel cops. And they said, but don't matter if you cops or not. Either we could take it to the back and lock it up for you, but we can't have you walking around here with a gun. Dude takes the gun out and pounds it on that left turn that I was at, pounds it down, and then puts the gun to my head.
Oh, sure.
Oh.
And then his boys pulled him away and brought him up the stairs. And then they wound up coming back down the stairs and they were like, yo, sorry, man, sorry. I said, that's why we don't let anyone in here with a gun. No one. And I don't know why, like they said, the light flashes in front of you and my heart didn't skip a beat or anything. I just remember that thing was cold.
But you guys still let them in?
Not him. But they didn't come in. They just came to apologize, you know. And that was the whole point, you know. And we could let anybody in there with guns and stuff like that. Who are we? We're totally illegal parties, you know. But it was the point. It was the point of it. You know, that's why we never had no issues. And you know, there was a lot of thugs going to 622.
Yes, there were.
But you know what? Hector and Meek knew most of that crowd from Rockaway and stuff, and they kept them guys in check.
It was coming from other boroughs too, because Brooklyn Massive.
Oh yeah. But I'm saying that Steve had a lot of those Rockaway cats in there, and they all looked up to him to this day.
And those guys, they were thugs, but they didn't come out to. They couldn't help who they were, but they didn't come out to be thugs, if that makes sense.
No, they came out.
That might have been that probably might have been the best thing to happen to them.
It changed.
It was. It was like
way to and the way back from the club.
It's like what Will was saying earlier, combining the house music, because when the hip hop room closed at 4. So if they want to go home, they had no choice but to go dance to the house music in the back.
Yeah.
Because we didn't close till 8. The food didn't come out till 4, you know? So, you know, they chilled. They didn't act out for whatever reason, call it luck. But they didn't act out in there. You know, there was never anybody, you know, no fights or nothing like that. If there was, it was, you know, I don't remember any fights, to tell you the truth. You know, and those parties were crowded.
That's one of the beautiful things about, I think, all of us and all the different parties that we've been to or whatever. We can't name many. I can name one. I can only name one fight in all these years.
Shoot, never fall asleep at a Wild Pitch party. Never. I learned the hard way on that one. So, those are great parties on Wild Pitch.
What happened when you fell asleep?
That's that coffee. See, that's that coffee she been drinking.
Oh, all right. So there's this rule that we had, like me, Chris, say cool, Ejo, Ray, God bless. You don't fall asleep. Hector too. So one day I'm at Kelly's on the stage. I fall asleep. I wake up. There's a Frankfurt on my neck.
On your face.
Right? Yeah. So it's like trash on me. So I wake up. All this trash comes right off me. But we knew that you don't fall asleep. And that's what we used to do. We used to just trash each other. So yeah, that's one thing you never did at Wild Pitch. But I guess I was really tired that day. You know?
You couldn't fall asleep at the diner either, because you fell asleep at the diner after you had sugar packets.
Oh yeah, 23rd. Oh yeah.
Everything all on your face.
Yeah, yup.
Yeah.
Okay. This is my actual last. I'm signing off.
All right.
Timmy, are you Mike Stone's cousin? Somebody's asking.
Mike Stone?
I don't know where they got it from. I don't know why they think it. Just
nah.
Okay, there you have it, people.
But Mike Stone was a dope promoter, man. I gotta say, like,
we know this.
Oh yeah, we sat. I had a studio apartment, and we used to sit down writing. It was me, Mike Stone, Greg, Mark, a bunch of us writing them damn names on the back of them flyers, man. Mike Stone was one of the last. That's one of the last times I had seen him. We were in my place years ago. It's probably 93, 92, 93.
Yeah.
And that was the old way of promoting, mailing flyers.
Yeah, no, he was 6'2". Yeah, because y'all had 622 and he had 626.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
Wow.
The 62 was the one where it was like crazy every week. That's Best Buy now.
Well,
guys,
hey,
that's it for,
it's so much
for me. I have to get my puppy to bed.
I want to like go do the neti pot so that I can stop sneezing.
I don't drink any more coffee, thanks. Not tonight, but this has been great and wonderful and energetic. And Will, thank you so much. And Timmy, thank you so much. And
you're welcome.
This was great.
Oh, I have to click
Thank
off.
you to all the people that were listening. Denise. Let's see. Diamond Temple was saying, "Tell you what's up." Will, Kim Lightfoot. Life, but oh,
Yeah, we had lots of great folks. Thank you for joining, Jelly Bean.
Kim wants to know where's Ollie. Here is my Ollie.
And there's
What's up, Kim?
Ollie is right here.
and Tony Touch
I
joined.
gotta get Ollie to bed. My little baby. Oh.
Yeah, definitely want to thank all the listeners and viewers for tuning in. That was great.
No doubt.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Everybody from the Bliss, everybody from HP, Michael Menton, who's here every week, Sandy, Paradise Lady, everyone. Just thank you all so much. Denise Wallach with all your questions. I love you, girl.
Yes, thank you to everybody who
Ollie
joined
has
us.
to go
And
to
thank
bed.
you to our guests, Wil Milton and Timmy Richardson. I am Sin Rose, and that lady over there.
I am Redness.
And this has been Bedtime Stories.
Thank
and
you all so much.
All right. Later.
Bedtime now. Go.
Right. Oh, Desiree Barcelo, go to bed.
Go Mimi.
Go to bed. Thank you
Go
all
to
so
bed.
much.
Or go to a
Well,
party. Go listen to somebody. Find somebody new. Go listen.
All right, later.
Later.
Good night. Bye, everybody.
All right, thank you.